I am possibly about to hit people with a big wave of nostalgia. Neighbours From Hell, also known as Как достать соседа in Russian, is a puzzle/strategy/stealth game developed and published by Joe Wood Productions, now known as Joe Wood Entertainment, back in the good old days of 2003. And honestly, this game is a pure gem of my childhood. And I am specifically talking about the original 2 PC versions, not the console versions or whatever the hell this is supposed to be. The game's plot is pretty simple and is as follows. You play as Woody, a man who just wants a peaceful life, but unfortunately his neighbors are genuine menaces to society and purposefully try to ruin his peace. Rottweiler and his mother Mama Rottweiler are pretty much the stereotypical insufferable human beings, if they are humans to begin with. I mean, seriously, who the hell mounts their pet parrot? So, in order to get back at them, Woody calls a TV crew, where they start filming a reality show of Woody terrorizing his neighbors in many ways. And all the levels in the game are essentially different episodes of the said show. Your goal is to sneak around, set traps, pranks, and not get caught. Because if you do get caught, well... Also, this game takes place in the UK apparently, because toilet paper is called a loo roll. The plot of the second game, however, is, well, also pretty simple. Rottweiler and his mother are trying to go on vacation throughout China, India, and Mexico, while Woody follows them around out of pure pettiness and spite. You're still picking on the neighbor mostly because his mom is more of a bodyguard. With them, there's also Olga and her unnamed child, which are kind of side characters. I never knew which gender this kid was, but apparently it's a boy. Through Woody's pranks and tricks, the neighbor also manages to get beat up multiple times by his mom and Olga. And apparently the neighbor has relatives in these countries, or at least ancestors. This game is basically the ending of the original series with Woody and Rottweiler, as in the final level they manage to recreate the Titanic incident. And the ending is basically the Rottweilers going back home on a boat with Woody attached to them. No idea how they don't realize that he's right there, but whatever. The pranks in this game are ridiculous to say the least. They can range from something really tame like putting a simple whoopee cushion on the neighbor's sofa to straight up attempted murder. Like, seriously, how is he not dead here? Oh. Well, that's kinda racist. Both of the games got pretty average reviews, but like I said, they're a dear part of my early PC days. I spent dozens of hours both alone and with my cousins playing these games, which is kinda hard to believe because both of the games can be completed in like an hour or 2. My guess is simply the whole charm of the game got us hooked and we played it until we eventually got bored of doing the same thing over and over again. And to be fair, the game is pretty damn charming. The characters' proportions, faces, and animations are very cartoony. The sound effects used in the game are pretty iconic and really fit the aesthetic, and the music just generally slaps. With all that being said, I was pleasantly surprised when I found out that THQ Nordic and Handy Games were remaking the game back in 2020, and it's basically all you could ask for from a remake. The graphics are way higher quality, the resolution is higher, and you aren't forced to play in fucking 800 times 600, and the game's animations were actually at 60 frames per second, which was pretty weird to look at first, because I was more used to the choppy animations of the older ones, but I can't deny that these look way better. And to top it all off, they merged both of the game's levels into one big compilation of sorts, which is pretty neat. The soundtrack of the game was also polished a bit, it sounds a little bit more crispy. Also, the neighbor somehow has physical copies of the game next to his computer, which makes you think, if he played all of the games, how come he's still unaware that Woody's in his house? Beside that, they even increased the difficulty at certain stages, such as certain items requiring you to do minigames, areas where now it's necessary to sneak, and just generally the game felt a bit more challenging. Fun fact, in the second game there was no sneaking mechanic, you could only run normally and you wouldn't interrupt anyone from sleeping. But this was changed in the remake, and I'm not complaining about it in the slightest, I like this change. I also noticed that if certain criteria is met, Rottweiler starts checking around his house for you, which kinda surprised me when I first saw it. The remake does truly feel like a modernization of a classic, like a love letter to those who played the original 2 games. It's still amusing as ever to see this man suffer, and it properly feeds my need of nostalgia. This game gets 4 angry neighbors out of 5.